All right, so we were just talking about how much snow we were thinking we'd get in Atlanta here.
Equal chances. No, we're going cold and we're going snow.
You heard it there. So if we had a big snowstorm in the south, they would get a winter name. And here at the Weather Channel, we've been naming them for quite a while now. And here they are for this season. And our first name is...
There it is. Archer. Archer. I like that name, Archer. We got a lot of, interesting names here. Archer, if you're a comic book fan, kind of people think of Archer. And then you've got, where is it? The J name, Jarvis, for anybody Avenger fans out there, Iron Man fans. But, I mean, look at your name. Maybe your name's on the list. You got some interesting, unique ones here. And, of course, we're kind of waiting to see when we'll see that first named storm actually work its way across the country and impact some areas.
And there is scientific criteria. We are a scientific network, after all, right? It has to be 2 million people and or 400,000 square miles of area. Plus, you have to be under or expected to be under a winter storm warning from the National Weather Service.
This is good, too. The and or, right? Because it could be an or. It doesn't have to be an and. We've got a good chunk of territory here that could see snowfall. But, this is the time of year we typically see it in the Rockies as well. You see most of that coming down late September and October, where we're at right now. Then eventually, I always like this January, February color, because it's like...
Coming to Pat on the first Climate Change Talk Show, I'm Steph Abrams.
And I'm Jordan Steele. Pack your bags.
I'm ready.
We're departing soon to a top-tier destination.
That's right. Felicia Combs is joining us now. And Felicia, I love a good trip. Yeah. We haven't traveled together yet, but I would love to travel with Felicia.
Now,
she'd be a good travel buddy.
Especially if you're going to Miami.
Yes.
I can take, well, South Florida. I can take you some places. But, and this we're focusing on, you see all the beautiful things that we just showed you. Amazing.
Yeah.
But now we've got to talk about the reasons cities like this are being impacted.
Let's talk about the heat. And I'm not talking about the basketball team. We can do that another day. We got to talk about the actual temperature in Miami. It's getting warmer and warmer for visitors. So how is that kind of impacting them, and how extreme is it really getting? Because you'd think the water would moderate the temperature. That's one of the good things about South Florida.
Yeah, you would think that. And the warmth is what draws people to South Florida, right? When it's 30 degrees in New York in December, you want to fly down to South Florida and experience some of the warmth. What is the problem, though, is like the summer that we just had. We had 46 days where you had heat indices in the triple digits this summer, and we had our first ever excessive heat warning ever issued for Miami. So when you're seeing things like that, you think, oh, well, Miami's always hot. But when you're talking about an excessive heat warning, those heat indices up to 100.
Changed at all? Is that getting worse for places like the south part of Miami? Some of these flooding events that you guys are seeing as well.
Yeah, of course, when you think about, as we remember, so even with a glancing blow, Miami has seen terrible flooding issues from the tropical systems and the rainfall. So it's like, what if we are talking about a direct hit?
And not to mention all the sunny day flooding and all the tides. I mean, which what a lot of people are doing. Felicia, we can't wait to see where we're going next. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. Felicia, you mentioned another draw from Miami, which is the water. People love boating and, of course, swimming, too.
Yeah, but sea level rise threatening the city. In fact, it's more common to see sunny day flooding, as Stephanie just said, at Miami Beach, because of those high tide cycles.
And it's an even bigger problem during king tide. So Dave Malkoff shows us what the future could look like for the city. And, especially a lot of the flooding, a lot of these, buildings that are on the beach, where you park in a parking garage that is quite often kind of the lowest level. So when you're talking about this sunny day flooding, I can't tell you how many videos I've seen of people coming out and their car, it's sunny day. And because of the king tides, their car is, submerged up to the wheels, up to maybe the undercarriage in salt water.
Yeah, which of course is, corrosive, not only for obviously the batteries if you have an EV, but just
rust.
Yeah, rust when you have just another car.
So now you think of these areas, Miami is one of them. We think of like Charleston, South Carolina, these areas that are kind of very low lying with a long shelf out in the ocean, which then of course allows more water to inundate them. So like, what's the answer? Dave was talking about maybe building something, but you just put a big wall up and then eventually...
Well, those are getting eaten away by the erosion as well. So is everything going to be on stilts?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. What do you have to do? Do you jack up properties?
Well, and then, with the explosion in the real estate industry in Florida, there are so many people who might find themselves in situations like Dave was talking about where they didn't even realize that they might have a sunny day flooding issue, much less.
And then do they have insurance for that? Will the insurance cover it? That's a whole nother story. We actually have a crew in South Florida that is going to bring us the story about the insurance issue down in South Florida, too.
Problem. Can't find insurance. No one's covering you.
Departing starting soon. That's what we're here for.
Okay, can't wait for your next story, Felicia. Thank you so much.
All right, let's go to Lynette with a look at our climate headlines this morning, or this afternoon. I always say that. Lynette, it's in the morning on the West Coast at least.
Exactly. I know what you're talking about, so it really doesn't matter. All right, let's take a look at it right now. So we do have, I am not a fan of toads and frogs, but I don't want the little things to die for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're cold-blooded, right? So they go, though sometimes I feel like I'm cold-blooded.
You are cold-blooded. Anybody from Florida is cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded, right? You need those warmth, and the second it gets cold, like our whole bodies get cold.
I hate when we talk about certain species that are not doing well. Because
just disappearing.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, Lynette, we'll check back with you in a little bit for the weather. But first, let's talk about climate change and how it's having a major impact on your health. More days of warm weather have stretched our allergy season, meaning more people are suffering from seasonal allergies, the sniffling and the sneezing.
Oh, that's why you sneeze all the time.
Trust me, I'm feeling it. It's lasting a lot longer.
And here's another one. How about migraines, headaches? Nearly 1 in 10 people around the world suffer from migraines. CBS News correspondent Bradley Blackburn has more on how a changing climate could actually mean more pain for a lot of patients.
All right.
It's so hard as a meteorologist right now because I'm like protective, mama bear. Like, don't blame the weather, okay? You keep blaming this, and then of course I'm like, well, shoot.
Have you ever had a migraine?
One time.
Yeah.
And it is debilitating.
It's debilitating. I used to have them pretty regularly.
Really?
Yeah, and changing of my diet and some other things have fixed it so I don't have them, but I do always have something with me just in case, because I've had it where like the black spots, vomiting, like so much pain. I couldn't keep my medicine down, and I was like, it's awful. So I feel for people that have migraines.
Well, let's bring in Lynette as we talk about weather. You know, Lynette, another thing they say too, when you get these migraines or headaches in the morning, they say you're like clenching your teeth at night, and then you wake up and your head's all.
I thought you were going to go with a low pressure coming in, people can feel their joints. Like, my knee, my knee's hurting. There's rain coming in, Lynette.
Well, I have all of it. I have the bad migraines. Yeah, it's terrible. I lose my sight, my vision, everything. And this weather, guys, speaking of, by the time we hit Sunday night, guys, it looks like we'll get a little bit of a break. But the bottom line is, once again, we are dealing with rain across the Northeast.
Boston, 6 out of 6 weekends with rain, the last 6 ones.
Thanks, Lynette. Well, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. We get to find out which heavy hitter.
You're home for the latest news in climate change and sustainability. I'm Steph Abrams.
And I'm Jordan Steele. We're going to get into today's hot topics, and we all know at least someone who's gone vegan, or maybe over the last couple of years, but do you know any vegan dogs or vegan cats?
I actually when dogs are young, they can't have like hard food. You have to give them soft food when they're little.
And when they're
way back in the day, when they're older too. Way back in the day, we had a dog, and it was a Yorkie, and there was a little yellow bowl, and they put dog food in it, a bunch of water, and set it on the counter. And then we had family over, and
they didn't know it was dog food?
They didn't know it was dog food.
Oh my gosh. So it was like soggy dog food that they were eating.
Maybe they just put it. I don't remember because I was really little at the time. I was younger, you know.
Well, this was pretty good.
It's like a story that's always told. Like, remember when he ate the dog food? You know.
Now, how many of us have tried it?
A lot of people. I feel like you've tried. I've never tried dog food.
Well, you've tried. Someone's like, dude, I dare to. No,
oh, you know, where's Lynette? Whenever she comes on, Lynette has eaten a lot of dog food.
It's like part of her snack option.
Gosh, Chef. You've like had the food.
That's your normal snack routine.
She's tried it. Maybe not a lot. Maybe I misspoke on that. Thank you for correcting me. She's tried it. Well, I felt like the other day she's like, oh yeah, I've had I tried this, I tried that.
Saying
yeah, remember?
I do.
Sorry, Lynette.
And honestly, the canned food, it looks good, like stew.
No, it doesn't.
You know?
It smells disgusting.
It smells good. I'm saying it looks good. I've not tried that, and I won't try it.
All right, the biggest thing.
And I know they have subsidies here too. So I mean, if anyone's out there in the market looking for them, I think it's what at $7,000 right now is what the subsidy's at.
Yeah, it's up to that. If it's an American-made car, I think everything has to be made in America to get the highest subsidy.
I got to give props where props are due, is though, because Kia for the longest time was just kind of like this behind-the-scenes vehicle. I now see those cars
everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. And people are talking about them in my circle. Like, have you seen so-and-so's? It's very comfortable. And I'm like, wow, they have come a long way.
Yeah.
Now on the technology front, too. Yeah. Maybe that car will come over here eventually.
Yeah, hopefully.
Single-seater.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Hopefully it'll be the same price, too.
Yeah, I know, wouldn't that be nice? All right. Steph, this hot topic is just for you because we know how much you hate using those little plastic bags to get like your apples at the store, or like you buy the fresh broccoli.
You put them in there.
So you just put the broccoli right in
I put it all literally in the cart. In fact, one of my carrots just this last Sunday fell out and I was like, oh, whoops. And I was like, what do I do with it? I picked it up, put it right back in the cart. You're going to wash it anyway.
Well, there's a Texas-based company that's come up with this bag. It's much more eco-friendly than the plastic bag.
Literally just wash them. I'm like, man, first of all, that stuff's rolling all over who knows what before they come, you know.
Yeah.
And by the way, they do make cloth bags that you can put your vegetables in. I have some of those, but I get lazy and I was like, forget it. Just put it in the cart.
Okay. What was once beautiful lake to live near is now causing serious health concerns. We're going to look at why the Salton Sea is responsible.
I really put them all in there.